What's good, YouTube? I actually have a lengthy market watch for you guys today, so strap yourself in and get ready for this one. We live in a day and age where Grinder Golem is now cheapest $10. Why might you ask that Grinder Golem does this? Well, I actually learned this a bit ago on stream. You summon Grinder Golem across from a extra monster zone. You use both those tokens to make the new Akashic Magician, and then you use her to bounce Grinder Golem. You resummon Grinder Golem, and you have an instant access to a Link 4. I was gonna say Rank 4, that's why I paused. But basically, you have instant access to a Link 4 monster thanks to Grinder Golem and Akashic Magician. Akashic's only going for about $15 pre-sales. If you want to go check out the pre-sale prices, go check out Robbie Cole's Market Watch, the grandfather of Market Watch. He definitely puts in that work, and we have a lot of different cards to talk about from his today, but I got a few from him that we're going to talk about. But definitely Grinder Golem wasn't on your list, Robbie, but it is an insane card abusing her. He more so looked at the sneak peek cards today. And we go over to eBay. These are all light play up until there's a $25 one. So sold out on eBay. Really pumping low quantities, 7 and 6 on TCG. It's hard to be a Grinder Golem duelist. There's also, I think, a cheese OTK using Inferno Tempest, I believe it's called. It's the one where you knock all the monsters out of their deck. You can just ram a card into one of the tokens into Grinder Golem and get that. And I think there's also a topological bomber Black Garden kind of thing abusing Grinder Golem. So there's multiple strategies around him that are all actually kind of insane. And you might have seen this coming. I just didn't think it was as competitive or pronounced enough to hit these prices, but here we are. Next up, Prohibition. I hear if you call SPYRAL Super Agent and Double Helix is treated as SPYRAL Super Agent, you're doing pretty well for yourself. You pretty much do have to call SPYRAL Super Agent because it would be blowing up Prohibition if you don't. But that should just make, I believe, Double Helix on the board just restricted completely. So Prohibition definitely can put in work against Spirals. It's not the worst strategy I've seen. It's actually a pretty good floodgate strategy for them. You can save your cherries for Firewall or something else crazy, and just call SPYRAL Super Agent. It's not a bad strat at all. It depends how much they are going to start maining Spell and Trap Destruction or siding it in for you, but it's up on all fronts. $20 cheapest on both platforms. Very, very low quantities. 4 over here, 3 over here. But you don't worry. If you don't need the hollowed out version, there's commons, really cheap epic cards in game. Over here from Texas has your back, and there's so many other cheap available options. But the secret rare, it looks like, is going up from Legendary Collection Yugi's World as well. I actually didn't click or check this out. Don't worry, my voice won't go until the end of this video. Let's see. Near mint. Oh, only $1.50. So if you want a nice secret rare version, they're still pretty cheap right now. I don't know if that'll last or not. If you want Prohibition, that's probably the nicest version for cheap that you'll be getting. Might want to get a few. Chain Disappearance. All right. We go through to the turbo version, and the lowest is $15. People are thinking about hitting Quick Fix with this card. Again, not the worst strategy. We've seen this resurface time and time again. We have it 13 from Canada before we have 15 German. And then it looks like $25. There's probably some 2-packs, still in the cheaper range. But not many quantities of this card at all either, and it's seeing some hype. I personally don't think it's one of the best choices against the deck. Both of these cards, Prohibition and Chain Disappearance, I grabbed from Robbie's Market Watch, and I think there's not really much else that I grabbed from his Market Watch here. But definitely two super interesting cards. And like I said, he's going to go over all the sneak peek prices if you want to watch and horror it. And pretty much, I might get Akashic Magician at 15. There's so many ways to view it, but I definitely think Akashic's greatly priced. Double Summon. Ooh, Ooh, it's going up. Why is that? Well, a lot of spiralists were initially playing it in the OCG. I was actually talking to Simo, and he said a lot of them ended up cutting it so that it's ridiculous that it's actually still headed up. But it looks like it's almost $5 on every front. Now, I personally do consider it to be slow and a little bricky, but I'm not an expert on the format, so tell me if you will be playing it or what you think about it. But we see it at $4 here, and the rest are just hovering the 5 and plus range. One thing to note, Tactical Evolution does have that secret rare foiling that you can have as a misprint on double summon that's very, very, very desired by duelists who might want the max rarity. Like how Summoner's Art, people tried to charge 90 for those when Summoner's Art was 30 in Clee format. Should be interesting to see what that misprint goes for, but there's no true way to tell right now. I don't think anybody has the secret rare text. I have Tactical Evolution up here, and the rares are still around the $5 mark too. Again, Spiral Duelist, you might want to have this, but I would test with it first online or proxying it to see if you really think it's worth spending the money. Decode the Talker has crept up over time to about the $6 mark. I did not know this one. Somebody told me. I had no idea that it had even budged from the 3 point, but there's only one structure to get him in. It's likely to get some kind of reprint at some point, considering it's a main character's card. But we've been saying that was Firewall Dragon over and over, and it's yet to happen. So if you got extra Decode Talkers, do be aware when you're trading that, hey, this guy's been up for a bit. I didn't look at him. A lot of people haven't. Maybe it's something to try to trade for when people don't care so much about the value, because I personally didn't know it. Ancient Fairy Dragon. Last we looked at was $5 lowest. Now it's pushing $7 lowest for the common version. The ultras are up. The tins are up. Everything about it is up. The Destrudo combo is just so consistent and powerful. I finally played with it for the first time. Paying half your life points is totally worth. Although we made a joke, and I'm sure Cap will like this joke. Cubics might not be that bad, pushing 3,000 damage and using the big guy to attack into the lowest guy after Destrudo activates. But seriously, it's an insanely well-placed combo. Now, there's still some cheap ones over here. Well, nope, they're not cheap. Look at that shipping. $7, $7, $8. Sorry to get you excited that there might be some cheap ones. 90 total different results for all versions of Ancient Fairy, so it's not like the market's dry on it. But over here on TCG Player, it's pretty thirsty for it. So it just seems to be going up across the board on all websites. If you're playing Spirals, you probably need this. And that's why it's up so high. We go over here. Ash Blossom's at $85, but Tornado's creeping up as well. It's at 13 from its market price of 11. Of course, Duelist Alliance down due to the reprint, but what I found super interesting is Unending Nightmare is at $667. We saw this twice in our finals last night, or not finals, our top 4, I suppose I should say, even main decked, and it put in a ton of work against Pendulum Magicians. I have been personally playing this in my side deck for over 2 months. At 3 copies. It does its work, it does it well, it hits field spells also. It's pretty good against True Draco, because most of the time they're gonna go and activate Diagram before trying to set and tribute a card. They're usually trying to use their resources. It's a really nice card. I was even using it back with Zoo, because you would hit Tinky, you'd hit Diagram. But again, that's not the best time to be using it, you scrub. It's definitely a great card, though, in my opinion. Yu-Gi-Oh! Black Market is the cheapest. Nice. And we go over here to check that Ash Blossom price. 90 lowest on eBay. It's just continuing to spike. The reason they're getting bought out is players who are going to Dallas are like, all right, time to bust out the wallet. It's time to be prepared for Dallas, and it's just at an insane price, guys. It's the hand trap of the season. Max C is proving a little bit slow, although it'll pick up against Spirals. Ash Blossom's where it is at in the hand trap department, it seems. Crystal Beast Sapphire Pegasus. Okay, this is another card I got from Robbie. Let's not front to that. So there is a last card we got from Imcole40's Market Watch. The DT is at 36, and then the ultimate is non-existent here, and that's pretty crazy. You want a moderate play, it's at 10. Over here on eBay, there actually were some cheap ones. I bought myself a play set, I believe, and then we have the $32 from Australia. This was way too cheap to pass on. I was just like, wow, it's up everywhere, and there's one Canadian out here selling them. So I bought myself a play set. Whoever goes and I believe has the opportunity to buy them out for their last play set. It looks like there are 6 available. So this guy is has plenty. He actually has 2 play sets. Item condition used though. So I guess you might want to be careful about that. But I decided it's still, considering the other lowest used is, you know, $12. Why not? It's pretty good. So he actually has more available than I thought. Maybe he's just putting them up 6 at a time and has inf. But you don't have to worry too much about getting the DT ugly version. This is why I always say check both. It's up crazy over here. The deck's not going to do anything. That fusion is really cool. It's more of people getting hyped for there finally being decent Crystal Bee support on the way. The fusion and the tutor card that gets anything out of your deck. So thanks for watching today's Market Watch. It's been pretty insane. As I believe Cap G pointed out, we have the creep back up of Super Agent. Robbie Cole also stated he thinks it's going to continue to go up after Dallas. I personally think it will have the luster effect and continue to go up as well. Our thoughts on that: don't drive it up. It's just a natural occurrence of the market, and we're reporting it. It may influence people to maybe get their SPYRAL stuff now, but it's realistic that Super Agent is going to continue to go up unless it sees a reprint, because a lot of people are going to play it. It's 90% of the tops in Japan. It's crazy, with the rest of the tops being Infernoid, it would seem. It's actually just crazy what's happening with SPYRAL to Japan. But our format is different. Our format does have other things that they don't, such as a still playable True Draco deck, such as a more full power Pendulum Magician in our format. So there are things that SPYRAL's are gonna have to test itself on without Link Karibo for Dallas. So thanks for watching. Again, crazy day, crazy Market Watch. What do you guys think of everything happening here? It's a weird day for the market.